people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go.
You can't help it.
And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies.
He fell right for the trap.
Rallies, the most incredible rallies in the
Yes,
history
he
of
fell
politics.
right for the trap. He can't help it.
Their country back.
Can't help it.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago.
She hammered him, guys. She just brought the hammer down.
You're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. And look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
He's so
This is what's happening in our country.
End of the Donald
and it's a
Trump
shame. As far as the rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase.
Like they want to come
America
because I'm
great
racist.
again. She's destroying this country.
Yeah, I think at first, her opening answer was definitely a little bit weak, clearly a little bit nervous, but oh my God, she started cooking quick. And, Donald Trump has absolutely fallen for each and every single one of the traps that Kamala laid for him, specifically and brilliantly on on immigration, which is her worst issue and his best issue. This was easily one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen on a presidential debate stage, guys. Again, this is her worst issue, his best. She sets him up by taunting him, basically saying your rallies suck. They're boring. People start leaving like halfway through them, going for a personal attack that she knows is going to get under his skin. He cares about his rallies more than anything, more than his record. That's what he's in this for. He's in this game for the rallies, for the big crowds. So for her to go after him on that, she knew he couldn't resist it, and he fell for the trap. He should have moved on. He should have just, let her said that and move about, go back to immigration, hammer her on the border. But no, immediately falls for the bait, tries to make this a dick measuring contest instead of focusing on the issue at hand, immigration. So damn, it was a real brilliant trap that she laid for him that he fell right into. And honestly, that's not the only one. He's been falling all over himself. The election denialism, insane, guys. This was a clear opportunity for him to say, hey, it was a divisive election. Things got out of hand. This election is about bringing the country together. 2024 is about uniting this country, left, right, people who believe in the last election's results, people who don't. We got to unite this country. Instead, he went down the rabbit hole immediately, started sounding like a deranged, Dinesh D'Souza, Alex Jones listener. One of the biggest debacles. I have to imagine every Trump advisor, all of his strategists, his donors, and probably even his supporters, even the ones who believe the lie, even they had to have been face-palming watching that unfold, because again, he had a real chance to say, hey guys, I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I know the media's told you I'm crazy, but I'm a unifier, and I can admit that I was wrong. I can admit defeat when I get defeated. Instead, He goes right in the gutter.
Her strategy was crazy. It was like B Rabbit when Eminem is in 8 Mile at the very end, and then she flipped the script, and instead she just completely, stripped him of his arsenal of attacks against her. Honestly, dude, it is a masterclass that we just bared witness to. It was a little rough on the start. I'm gonna be interested to see if she builds on the momentum or what's gonna happen. But I can't imagine this breaking any other way than being just an absolute ass whooping of Donald Trump. His second debate standing so in such a stark contrast from the first one, because obviously he was able to stand confidently as opposed to Joe Biden. But this shows how feeble he really is. When you put him up against a competent opponent, he can be vanquished. This just reaffirms that we would have never, ever, ever had to deal with Donald Trump if they wouldn't have cheated Bernie out of the nomination.
Yup.
Bernie would have disposed of him on stage and made him look like a fool.
100%.
Move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President,
we
you
go. Let's
recently
cook.
said of Vice
Let's hear
President
more
Harris,
about eating
I didn't
dogs.
know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Oh.
I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do
Only
you
in
believe
America.
it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that.
You can't
And
even
then
look at her.
I read that she
You
was
can't look
black.
her in the eyes, coward.
That's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to Black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people?
She's eating
Knowing
his
that
lunch
regardless
with the
of
culture war.
people's color or
Crazy.
the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
Boom.
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
Tremendous.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately.
Oh my God.
They pled guilty. Then they pled
These guys
not
were
guilty.
innocent.
But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now.
Remind
I
us
built one
how
of the
old you are,
greatest
Trump.
Economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. She's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had. a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad,
Mr.
and she
President,
can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
We'll get back to this in a little bit. But
Closing
wow,
statements next.
what a devastating evening for Donald Trump, guys. You couldn't have scripted it better for Kamala Harris. You guys, we couldn't have even dreamt it up. Like we were talking at the beginning of this, how Kamala basically just had to go out there and not fumble the bag, how she had to at least somewhat competently and articulate a vision for the future. We could not have. I mean, we wouldn't have even believed ourselves if you told us how badly Donald Trump was going to do with the dog-eating comments, with the straight-up election denialism, just absolutely batshit deranged things coming out of his mouth. But what are your thoughts, Gavin?
I mean, before the debate started, I said that to really seal the deal as the front runner in this election, Kamala Harris not only had to do really well, but that Donald Trump would have to do poorly, like, worse than expected. Both things have happened, guys. And I think that's pretty clear to almost any normal person who's watching this debate who's not already 100% convinced on who they're going to vote for. You know what I'm saying? Like, Donald Trump is giving one of the worst performances of his entire career as a politician, perhaps his
I think
very
it's the
worst.
very worst.
I think it might even be worse than the one against Joe Biden in 2020. In fact, I think it's by far worse.
I was going to say, it's not even close, dude.
Yeah.
I think that this is because at least he seemed somewhat up and confident, and like he had an angle that he was operating with, and he was the incumbent president, and he was, carrying himself with that air. Now he comes out there and he's throwing junk. I mean, it is crazy.
I think easily the worst debate performance of Donald Trump's career. This is an absolute disaster. He can't stay on message. Even the easy layup attacks, he's not going for. I thought that with Tulsi Gabbard giving him debate coaching and preparation, that he would for sure hammer Kamala and the Democratic Party for embracing the endorsement of Dick Cheney, for becoming the new party of, neoconservative values. I figured that was for sure an attack he would go with. Instead, he's talking about, migrants eating pets. Are you kidding me? This is an absolute disgrace, guys. This is insane.
I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving it because I am so excited, guys. I have predicted this for a while. Gavin, I think you're on the same page as me. It's over for Donald Trump. We are watching the very end, the death rattle of the Donald Trump era. There will be no 2028 run. There will be no future of Donald Trump in the Republican Party. He has humiliated himself to such a degree, guys, that he is going to get absolutely walloped in the general election. I already, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks ago, put up a electoral college map with 303 electoral votes, and I declared it was the worst outcome for Kamala Harris, and I stand by that. I think she might even get more electoral college votes than 303. I think she might pick up North Carolina. I think a lot of states are in play, guys. I think we're going to see an Obama-style map more than we see a Joe Biden-style map.
I agree. Kamala really proved her deftness as a politician on this debate stage tonight, guys. She was nimble. She's been deft. She's set traps effectively that Donald Trump has fallen into. She's triggered the ever-loving hell out of him by talking over him even and kind of emulating some of his tactics. She's visibly disturbed him. He is clearly losing and he knows it. This debate is not going well for him, and you can see it on his face. When asked about the racial identity comments, I thought it was very revealing how he had lost all of his riz. By this point in the debate, he's lost all of this, any sense of momentum. He knows he's down and it's weighing him down, which is why, instead of being able to parry this, what should have been expected, instead he comes out here, blubbers, flounders, talking about how I didn't say that. I don't know. What did I say? I mean, you really weren't prepared for that question. You didn't have a response ready, something to at least make it
Tulsi
seem.
Gabbard was preparing him. So what did you really expect?
Fair enough.
I mean, God, so embarrassing.
Thank you, President Trump.
So she just started by saying she's going to do that. She's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs, and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it
She's not the
because you
president.
believe
She's
in
never been
things that
president.
the American
No.
people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not
Based.
going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not.
Don't
Germany
threaten me with a
tried
good
that.
time.
And within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation.
You were
that's
president
in
for
serious
4 years.
decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any
Badly.
idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military.
Did you see
She gave a
Oppenheimer?
lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to
Got out of
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, dude. What the
These
fuck?
people have done to our
You
country,
promised
and
for
maybe
4 years you
first
were
of
going to
all
do
is
that.
allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst
Oh my
vice
God.
president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate.
Oh my God.
Oh, where do you even
Brutal.
begin, everybody?
Brutal. Holy shit, guys. That was insane. He didn't even have a closing statement prepared. He didn't even have a closing statement prepared. He was literally just riffing, as someone in chat said. And just like not even like good Trump riffing. It was all like negative, like weird, mean stuff, like "You're the worst president and vice president in American history." Like no positive vision, no way forward, not even a rebuttal. See, Kamala's whole line is like, we're gonna go forward, they're gonna go backward. Trump doesn't even try to like refute that. He doesn't have any like affirmative agenda. He doesn't even really say we're going to make America great again. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a positive message. People liked that. It made them feel good. It made them feel nostalgic for whatever they used to like about this country from when they were a kid or whatever. You could kind of project onto it what you wanted. He doesn't even really have that energy. He doesn't say that as much. It's just negativity. It's rambling. It's incoherent. It's weird, like Tim Walz says. And Jesus Christ, bro, that was an absolute ass whooping. Whatever your guys' criticisms of Kamala Harris are, and we have plenty of them that we
Laundry
expound
list.
on a daily basis. But holy shit, can you imagine if Joe Biden was still the Democrats' nominee and we just had to endure another just brutal display of mental and cognitive decline on national television? Thank God, someone intervened and we actually have a real human being with a brain as the nominee, someone that can actually defeat Donald Trump, someone that finally gave Democratic voters in this country the ass whooping that they've been, denied for the entire Trump era. Hillary couldn't deliver it. Joe Biden couldn't deliver it. The only reason why Trump lost that debate to Joe Biden was because he hung himself, because he was so annoying that, it turned people off. But Biden never was able to truly whip Trump. Kamala just did it. She finally fucking served him, bro. She finally gave the Democrats the ass whooping they've been denied for so long. I can't believe what we just watched.
Yeah, what we just watched was the definitive era end of Donald Trump. He is over. He is finished. There is no coming back for him. In fact, guys, the conversation is going to very quickly pivot from how, by what margin Kamala Harris is going to win by, and soon after to be, will Kamala Harris put this man behind bars? Will Donald Trump be the first person that once occupied the White House, that once served as the president of the United States, who is actually put in an orange jumpsuit, put in solitary confinement, having Secret Service agents around the clock with him? Or do they give him, a penalty of house arrest because they decide that it's too difficult for a former president to have Secret Service and a jail sentence? These are the kind of discussions that we're going to be able to have seriously now, because Donald J. Trump has fucking cooked himself, guys. He's officially jumped the shark. It's officially over. He has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to run, and he has no plan to get back into the political fucking game.
No.
It's over after this. He is going to lose. He is going to deny the election results, regardless of how deranged they are. He'll talk about how he was cheated, how it was all a scam, how everybody worked against him, yada, yada, yada. But he will never run for office again. He will be so humiliated for the second time. His ego will be so bruised that he will retreat into a hole and try and die there.
Yeah. I mean, that was absolutely brutal. Donald Trump, by no metric, performed well in that debate. I mean, I think the answer on Obamacare might have been the single worst when he had nothing, literally nothing. They say, like, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Blah, blah, blah. Obamacare was bad. The Democrats stopped me from doing anything. Cope. Blame everyone else. So you have no plan? And to which he says, what did exactly
He says,
say?
I'm not president right now. We're working on it.
No. He said we have concepts of a plan.
Concepts of
We
a
have
plan.
concepts of a plan. Sorry, guys, I'm high. But we have concepts of a plan. What? What are you talking about? We're talking about healthcare here. One of the most important issues in every single election cycle, no matter what, up there with crime, immigration, and the economy. Healthcare. You don't have an answer ready. You don't have a line. You don't have anything that you can even improvise off the top of your head that sounds better than, whatever vague nonsense Kamala is talking about. No, just, we have concepts of a plan, and I'm not president right now. So what do you expect me to, have a plan for when I might be in, like, a few months or whatever? Like, what? This is insane.
I think we've been saying this for a long time. I think people are going to finally catch up to the vanguard's wisdom. For as much as you guys who have dissented from us have said, oh, you guys are too cavalier. You guys aren't learning your lesson from 2016. No, we are living in a completely different world than 2016. Kamala Harris is an entirely different candidate than Hillary Clinton. And Donald J. Trump is an entirely different individual in the eyes of every American now than he was 8.5 years earlier. Okay? So let's be clear about all of those things. We've told you that for months and months and months. The silent majority was already with Kamala Harris. Now you're about to see that cookie crumble entirely, right? The support for Donald Trump that was even marginally like sustaining him in popular polls, that's about to fall out. You're about to see Kamala regain the lead in those polls in Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Okay. It's all going to give way now. And it's not because we're overconfident in Kamala Harris, but it's because of how weak Donald Trump is. He has absolutely nothing to offer. We sat in these two chairs at the beginning of this live stream 3.5 hours ago, and we said, what does Kamala need to do? She needs to articulate a vision for the future. She needs to adequately differentiate herself and distinguish herself from Joe Biden. She did not rely on his accomplishments as much as I thought, and she was incredibly deft at maneuvering the political situation that she found herself in, with the Dick Cheney thing being a potential liability, right? With the border being a potential liability, right? What'd she do? She completely flipped the script on Donald Trump. It was so savvy. Guys, it is over. It's so over. It's over. You don't even know how over it's been. It's been over. Boy, it's even more over now.